and come up with what they think the final verdict will be. Um, we know that today they will be hearing from the APC, I mean, sorry, from the PDP and one other party who will present their opening arguments, and then on Wednesday will be Labour Party and two others. So I also think that the judges are trying to, as much as possible, not let the the proceedings drag unnecessarily, and that's why the lead judge, Justice Samani, has said that there'll be no room for any sensational remarks by um, by the attorneys who are representing the various parties or the various individuals who are going to battle it out in court over the next maybe couple of weeks or so on, or more. Um, at the end of the day, let Nigerians be patient. We waited for this for about 2 months, so
True.
let's be patient to also listen and hear, and not just read headlines. So when you see headlines, you try as much as possible to read the details of the story so that you can get the facts. Let's not just tweet unnecessarily what I always call media sensation headlines. Just throw them out there. The judge said, but you don't understand what led to the statement that was made, and so on and so forth. Let's be patient. We would get to the end of it. We would have a judgment at the end of the day, and whatever the judgment is, something tells me there will be an appeal to the final court of arbitration, which will be the Supreme Court, irrespective of who judgment um, goes his way. Um, Someone was asking, are they going to televise it? I doubt if they will do that. I don't think the panel agreed to live broadcast. But the truth of the matter is that courts are open for Nigerians to go in there and listen to cases. Nobody's going to stop you. If you cannot get into the courtroom itself, you can be within the courtyards of the courtroom, because there are speakers, there are microphones that you can hear as proceedings go on. So let's not be scared to go to the. It's for those who have the time to go listen, um, so that we can hear the arguments. Um, we can at the end of the day ensure that we know what happened, what transpired, what the thinking process was of those who are trying to adjudicate and those who are trying to deliver a ruling. And lastly, for me, is the fact that this will probably be the quickest or the fastest um, presidential election tribunal process, because the law stipulates, the clear laws for them now. We're not going to. We know that the last presidential elections that Buhari won in 2015, there was really no court case, because the former president Goodluck Jonathan decided he wasn't going to challenge the decision, and so I think this will be the shortest in the history of Nigeria since we started this democracy, and let's see how it goes. But let Nigerians let them just continue being peaceful, listen, read. Don't base your judgments on headlines, whether it's the newspapers or the headlines from the news, so that at the end of the day, we're not sensationalizing simple processes and comments that have been made either by a lawyer or a judge at the during the proceedings.
The WhatsApp number is 0809 4440981. Moving on to Daily Post. Now, the NLC in Abia State has concluded plans to resume an indefinite strike that it suspended just about 2 months ago. So the NLC is calling on all unions in the state, including those in the local government, to withdraw their services to the government. Now, it's also very interesting to note that the Judiciary Staff Union in Abia State has also been on strike for about a month.
I guess that's the new normal across Nigeria. The states, the federal services. Everybody goes on strike, but in my lifetime, I really haven't seen, it's that cheap debate, but now it's like, okay, let's go on strike.
What
One day,
next?
when we're tired, the governor will speak to us,
And we'll go back to work.
we'll walk a bit, they will agree on 3 point agenda, and then after that, everybody goes to bed, and then they realize that, oh, there's no money, they're not paying us our salaries, they've not increased our minimum wage, and so on and so forth. But the truth of it is, uh, Abia State has one of the biggest debt profile in Nigeria. It has one of the highest unemployment and underemployment rates in Nigeria. Um, it's amazing having lived in Aba for over a year. Not that, but the opportunities you have in terms of local production, local markets, trading, um, are not being exploited, are not being put to good use. And I really don't understand what it takes, to just ensure that we create the enabling environment, build infrastructures that would build infrastructures that would take us to those places so that economic activities can continually improve. Use the resources that both internally and from the federation account to develop our states. And what really also beats me, and it's something that I've been thinking about for a while. Every time, a number of the people who maybe 7 out of 10 times go back to these states to govern really haven't lived there. So for me, it just continues to, ring a bell that, did you really understand? Or there it's just because I want to be the governor. If understand the intricacies of how the state runs. How do you generate internal revenue by not providing the needed infrastructure? How do you ask people to pay taxes, to support a system when they can't see the things that would make them continually improve themselves towards having that sense of ownership, that sense of belonging to that place? And it's not just in Abia State. I just think it's across the 36 states of Nigeria. So leadership needs to come back and think about, how do we create new wealth? How do we continually create wealth? Like I always say, today's child is tomorrow's customer. And if you don't improve the lot of everybody, from um, good education, good healthcare, then we just have a wasted generation that would actually not contribute to society. And that's why we have the level of poverty, we have the level of crime, you just name it. We have high mortality rates, low life expectancy, and so on. Those things are not rocket science. It's system that you have, and that's what people live by.
Well, you mentioned that some of these, many of these leaders in different states, they don't live there, so they don't even understand what exactly is
Might.
going. Well, might understand what exactly is going on. Now, looking at the way the processes go in Nigeria in terms of choosing leaders and so on. I'm not saying that, okay, everybody has a right to run for any office. It's a constitutional right. But bringing it down, shouldn't the electorate be ideally looking at people who actually understand the issues? I'm not saying that even someone who understands the issues will go there and work magic, but shouldn't that at least be the way to go, that okay, this person actually understands the problems, understands what we're lacking, and seems to have a good idea of how to solve the problem? Shouldn't that be the quote unquote way to go?
Well, that should be, in my own opinion. And until we jettison this idea, which for me, and I continually repeat, is not part of the constitution of Nigeria, we jettison this idea of state of origin. My state of origin is Edo State, but I have no clue what goes on there. I've never lived there. I've never done business there. I've visited there a few times. Do you understand? In my lifetime, I've been there. I went to school in Edo State. Part of my growing up and going to school was in Edo State. But since I left higher institution, I think I visited there a few times, 5, 6 times. Went to bury my father. Went for a few other things. But I really don't understand. So if you ask me and you say, "Oh, my state of origin is Edo State," and you're asking me, "Oh, what is happening in Edo State?" Why would I care? I should be more interested in what is happening in Lagos State, where I pay my taxes, I have a residence, I have people who live around me, I have a community who I have to deal with. And this for me are some of the challenges. So you come into an environment, yeah, maybe you grew up there, you have an idea of what's going on, but leadership is leadership. So how do we ensure and embed these systems of people who really do understand what goes on? You can move from one state to the other in terms of residents and go become a superstar and become maybe even win governorship. But until we start to think in this direction, I think we'll continually have a far cry of having quality leadership. This is my opinion. Quality leadership in the sense of quality leadership who truly understands the nitty-gritty of politicking within the state.
Now, speaking about the unions and the strikes, it's starting to look like a rinse repeat situation. Do you think it's time to change strategy, and what could be the next strategy really for the unions to get the government listening?
I think the for me it should always be dialogue. There should be sincerity of purpose from both sides, which 7 out of 10 times we really don't see from government. The unions have, they have a plethora of challenges that they need to bring to the front of government. But until we change this system of, if we don't go on strike, then nothing happens. If you don't go on strike, they just look at, okay, so go on strike. And every time there's a strike, government will push, in quote, to try and go through what they call legal means, threats, legal means. And at the end of the day, we're back to square one. You have a communique that tells you that there's an MOU of agreement that never really happened. So let's better understand what are the requirements for our people. How do we drive them? How do even those who work in public service start to drive themselves, towards creating additional value, not just for the system, but also for themselves. Because tomorrow you're in public service, the day after you retire from public service, and you're coming back to this infrastructure, to this system that didn't work. And then you blame the system when, while you were part of the system, you didn't really do anything to make it better.
All right, thank you for that, Uade. Yeah, so you can be a part of the show this morning by sending your messages to us via WhatsApp on 0809 4440981. This is Freshly Pressed, and it continues shortly. Stay with us.
That's a long one on story one and two.
Sorry?
I think we took a bit of time on the first two stories.
Very good. We'll try to see how many more we can cover.
So which one are we doing? Erotropolis, and
Why?
Hi, my name is Abia.
good question.
Over time, people have said a lot of stuff
Start the
about
next
Lagos,
thing.
but I'll say my Lagos is one filled with endless possibilities, a home for the multitude, where you hear the best
Don't worry, I
bus
won't
arguments
take my
ever
time on
and
that
find the
one.
hottest
Just going
hangout
to-
spots, believe me, where an
yeah.
ordinary can come
I'm
to
just going
visit
to
those
blow
who
through
get
it
the real
like
deal from my Lagos, the city.
it makes no
of
difference.
excellence. You're listening to Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life.
We said
I'm going on strike after today. I've sent them my warning. Can you see the way the people is trying to?
We're streaming. Don't be so we talk.
I'm going on strike. I've told
What?
you.
You joined the unions.
We're on YouTube so they can hear me.
What is that part of the union?
I started my unionism in Spring. Where we were going on, we're back on. That is, let me do my show.
All right, welcome back to this Freshly Pressed on Smooth 98.1 with Zibby, Ayo, and our analyst this morning, Uade. All right, let's get back into.
To be a part of the conversation, let us know what your thoughts are. WhatsApp number 0809 4440981. You can also tweet at Smooth981. We're streaming live on YouTube, so just search for Smooth981 on YouTube. You can catch the live stream and post a comment as well.
Alrighty, let's head over to the Punch newspaper. Now, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, in conjunction with Ala Resort Limited, has concluded arrangements to turn the Akure Airport into an aerotropolis. Now, the Chief Executive Officer of the resort, Mr. Moyosola Niral Adoni, stated this in Akure on Monday.
I really don't. First and foremost, I had to go and check the meaning of an electropolis.
I did too.
They say it's a city that connects airports in Akure. Wow. So it would improve industrialization, commercialization, education, XYZ. 56 billion that is going to be invested in this could go into better things like new school infrastructure, healthcare, creating better logistics for those who are within the farming zone and the trade zones of the hinter places of Ondo State. Are you with me? Build an airport that meets the capacity to fly people and to fly cargo. Are you with me? Because Ondo State is generally landlocked, so I should be thinking more of air cargo transports and things like that. Build that. What industries do we want to build to produce what? Are you? Except you're telling me probably you have industries that would support the agricultural value chain, like cold rooms, and also that you can have short time preservation areas for produce and so on and so forth. We just I think I'm sorry to say this, but it's like we see too many gang movies, and we just think that in our head that once we build that in the state capital, everybody is fine.
Even though it's not a practical thing at that point in time.
I don't know what the practicality is here. 56 billion. He started this journey in 2017. It's taking you 6 years to agree, and then you want to spend another 56 billion over the next 2-3 years to build an electropolis. Who are the people who are going to go to school, going to come from the villages and the suburban areas of Akure to the electropolis to come and school? Let's be realistic. What we require are not this kind of edifices. We require good roads. Even when you connect a train system within the locality so that people can move their produce from the farms to the airports, like I said, build a cargo unit that would carry big enough planes, small enough planes to move. You can imagine if I have to bring that area is notable for things like cocoa, for instance. What does it take to package my cocoa through a rail line that gets to the cargo, what's it called, and then it flies to whether it flies outside Nigeria for exports or even flies to Lagos or Abuja to better improve the lot of people. The metropolis, man, spare me.
All right, let's move on to the nation. Now, lawmakers and stakeholders are appealing to the incoming administration to ensure appointments of 35% of women in the presidential cabinet. They're urging the administration to adhere to and ensure that women are placed in mainstream appointments as prescribed in the National Gender Policy and international instruments.
So there's a national gender policy that says 35% of those who should work in government or what's it called, appointments should be women. Totally agree. If there's a policy, I hope the administration would look at it and improve the lot from the current 7% that we have now to maybe even move it up to, if they double it for starters, that would be a huge step in that direction. I know the president in 2019, after the policy came to be, was like, oh, don't worry, this next time, women. But we haven't seen it, so we hope we see it in the next administration. I'll leave it at that.
Austin. I think you can have your views, but you don't always have to tie them to ethnicity and religion, things like that. We shouldn't be thinking along those lines, Austin. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the Vanguard.
That's right. And some terrorists on Sunday abducted over 40 worshippers at Bege Baptist Church in Chicken local government area of Kaduna State.
Unfortunate incident again. The level of terrorism has gone back up since the conclusion of the elections. Unfortunately, 15 of them got away. There are still 25 in captivity. I hope the state government and all the necessary agencies will work tirelessly to ensure that these people come back to their family and no one loses his or her life. Um, the incoming administration has a lot to do when it comes to the issue of insecurity, the challenges of insecurity, and I do hope it would be among the top three targets for the first 100 days, and what to do. And um, my sincere pities go to the families of those who have their members kidnapped. And I think I'll just take a break from that. It's the last 8 years has been hell, so let's leave it at that. I pray that those people come back home in one piece.
The WhatsApp number is 0809 4440981, and you can also tweet at smooth981. Going on to Jigawa State now. This article comes from Punch. Now, the MD of the Jigawa State Environmental Protection Agency, Lawan Ahmed, announced the state government has now banned tree felling for firewood and charcoal to protect forest resources and the environment.
Um, that's nice. It's a nice thing to do. It's always a feel good thing to tell people, one, who can get alternative sources of energy to either cook or provide heating for their homes. Um, as one who believes in sustainability and the sustainable development goals, the new buzzword across the world and across Africa today is climate change, climate change, climate change. Um, stop stop tree cutting, um, reduce the carbon emissions in the air. But the truth of the matter is that when you look at SDG 1 and SDG 2, zero hunger and eradication of poverty, until you do that, nobody is going to be thinking of climate change. I've not been able to boil, cook my food, and then someone is telling me that I shouldn't cut trees. Do I have alternative source of energy to prepare it? No. Do I have alternative means to get it? No. So the easiest and cheapest way is to do that. So let's put that at the back of our mind when we continue to shout about climate change and all those things across Nigeria and Africa. That the first thing is government should put in place a system that would, one, reduce or eradicate hunger, reduce or eradicate poverty, and then you can now start speaking to people about climate. Nobody's going to listen. We can put all the fancy, we can use all the fancy words and fancy adverts to tell us that flooding is going to kill us. Something is going to kill us at the end of the day anyway. Either you die naturally or you die in a natural disaster.
Uade.
No, but that's the reality. Let's be human here. We will die. That's a certainty. But for us to be able to live longer, let's do those things first before we, like I said, you haven't eaten the whole day and someone is telling you that rain is going to fall and sweep you away. You might as well just fall and I'm really being honest here, I'm being blunt. You might as well just fall and sweep you away so that you know that your sufferings are gone. And then you say you shouldn't fall trees for him to cook his food.
But what if at the end of that day, by some chance, somebody brings food for that person? I mean, there's always a chance, right?
There's a chance for everything. It's the same way. But will I wait and be hopeful? These are realities. Let's be practical here. I'm hoping that Ayo will come. Hope. But there is wood in front of my house, and you say I should use it when I have the food to cook. Let's be realistic in some of these instances. And that for me is what the issue is. It is really, really good for us not to cut the trees. But if you don't put in place a system where these people can access other alternatives, it's like telling me, oh, if I don't have petrol, come to work, then I try, I don't get petrol, then I go to the bus stop, the bus doesn't have petrol, and then I trek, and then I collapse on the way, and then you say, oh, you didn't put in enough effort, and that's the reality. So yes, it's important.
The WhatsApp number is 0809 4440981. You can also tweet at smooth981. And we're streaming live as well on YouTube, so you can catch the live stream up. We have just a couple of minutes to go.
All right, let's take a couple of messages here from WhatsApp. This is from Abbas, and he says, it's a good one that Jigawa state government has banned tree felling, but we hope there's going to be proper enforcement of this. We have laws for poaching animals, but we have pangolin sales everywhere. Our enforcement is always shaky. Yeah, he also said tree felling has nothing to do with those small woods you have around. We have places where there are large trees that people fell for different reasons.
All right, from Punch, the Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has approved the payment of 13-month salary to Edo civil and public servants this year.
Nothing goes for nothing. That's what he was telling the members of the civil service and public servants, that, well, he has agreed now, but over the next 9 months, tell us what you would do for Edo State. Good way to boost the morale of the people. And if they are continually doing the things that they're doing in terms of what the report talks about, of the development and the infrastructure improvements in Edo State, then it does make sense. If you're making more money and you can afford it, then go ahead and do that. It's just an additional incentive to those who clamored for it in December. They didn't get it in December, they just might get it in May. So congratulations.
Well, that is all the time that we have for Freshly Pressed this morning. Thank you for your messages, and special thanks to you for listening, and our analyst Uade as well for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me as always. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much, Uade. At 8:15, it'll be time for us to get right into the grapevine, bring you the best of entertainment news. You don't want to miss that. Stay with us.
Headlines. The stories.
Why would they?